Okay.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hello. It's me, Heather, and that's Nigel.
How do you do?
He's going to be sitting behind the camera, helping moderate comments in case you guys want to chat with us. So, surprise! It's a live stream. I've got Jon Renau's Spring 2019. I've got some samples here that I would like to unbox for you. I don't know what these look like. I have never worn them before. Hi, Diane. Thanks for joining us. Hello. I know I kind of ninja'd you guys with this because I didn't announce it, but I honestly didn't know if I was going to have time. But I'm glad we could kind of squeak this one in. So we've got a little bit of natural light coming in through the windows. So let's check these out, shall we, Nigel? Assume the position. Now, I have never seen these before. I intentionally had my staff list these on the website. Oh, hold on. Turn off the... Yeah.
There we go.
I intentionally, like I said, we had a technical issue. The speaker was playing and there'd be a bunch of feedback. But anyhow, so I had my staff list these on the site for me so that way I didn't kind of get a sneak peek of what they would look like. So I've never seen these. I've never taken them out of the box. I have no idea what they look like. I don't know what they're about at all. So my reaction in this video is going to be my real reaction. So this is Rose, and I ordered this in one of my favorite colors. This is FS2B/31V, which is also known as chocolate cherry. So as you can see, it comes in its smart lace box. I'm going to take the top off. It comes with like this little pamphlet telling you how to care for it. That's pretty standard with a lot of these newer Jon Renau styles. And then, of course, you get your tissue. Oops, it's upside down. So you can see right away that Rose is a wefted wig. It's partially wefted here on the sides. You can also see that she's got some monofilament here on the top. I'm going to take her gently out of this box. The tag is a little stuck on one of these bobby pins. So here's Rose right out of the box. Going to remove the tag just so I can kind of put this on without it looking obvious that I just took it out of the box. And I'm going to do my best to not style these very much. I want them to give you kind of a raw impression of what they look like. So before I put her on, as you can see, like I said before, she's wefted in the back. And on the sides, she's got an extended felt nape here with the Velcro adjusters. I love it when Jon Renau does that. Interesting thing that I can detect on the back of the nape of this one, right off the bat, there's a little bit of metal. Just like you find on the ear tabs, right here in the back of the nape. And when they're in the nape like that, we consider those stays because they help the wig sort of lay flat in the back. So Velcro here in the back. We've got felt here on the ear tabs with that metal there. This is a nice, chunky, thick piece of metal too. If you're ever worried about going, through the TSA lines or anything like that, I've literally never been harassed for wearing a wig. But the key is, and I've spoken to TSA agents about this, is you don't put anything bulky underneath your wig. And if you have a lot of hair, make sure that you kind of braid it around or keep it as flat underneath your head as possible, because that's when they'll stop you if you're wearing a wig, not if you're wearing one. They've seen them, trust me. But it's if you've got something bulky under your cap, that's when they'll pull you aside. And you can even then request to go into a private room if you're a little scared of, taking the wig off in public. So I will pause in between wigs to take comments. And in the meantime, Nigel will be trying to respond to as many as possible via text. So Rose here has quite a bit of hair on top. She's very straight, looks really dramatic in this chocolate cherry, which is a really dark color. If I get her up a little closer, you can see. These wigs, because they're traditional synthetics, right out of the box, they tend to be a little bit shiny. You can really pick that up here with the light coming in through the window. Usually a single wash is enough to take care of that. She's got a lot of layering up here near the top. I'm gonna go ahead and put this on. This is a monofilament top wig with one of their smart lace fronts. And I got a little mirror sitting over here that I'm gonna check out for a second. And I could definitely feel that metal back here. It's not uncomfortable or anything. It's just because I have a shaved head. It's really obvious that there's a little bit of structure back there. You can see here's that smart lace front. Now this is not a rooted color, so where you get those really bright patches, you're gonna get really bright roots. That doesn't really bother me much. In fact, I like this color better on these monofilament wigs than I do on their machine wefted counterparts, because nothing's weirder than bright orange permatease. Lots of layering. I mean, this one has a lot of room up here on the top of the cap. Just a ton, honestly. So if you need a little bit of extra space up in your ear-to-ear region, like if you're trans or something like that, this will accommodate that. Though I will say that the fit on the perimeter feels fairly true to average with a little bit of stretch. I could see this being unisex really easily, and that may be why they gave that little bit of extra room here at the crown. Just playing with her for a second. I'm gonna fix the part while I'm at it. Now, she did not come with a zigzag part, and this is a factory sample. So just goes to show that sometimes they don't always come with the factory part. And there's absolutely no way that this is a recycled return, because it's literally straight from the factory sample. That's what that looks like underneath. If I move that around a little bit, you can see. They don't put a ton of hair on the top of these Jon Renau wigs. They do that on purpose. They know their customers like wigs that they don't have to thin out. So you'll see that this is kind of a wide part. Now, because it's a monofilament top wig, you can move that around if you like. She does have a bit of fringe cut in, but it's irregularly cut. So if you wanted a more traditional bang, you would probably have to have a stylist cut that in for you. So let me do a 360 so you can see what Rose here looks like on all sides, and then I'll pause for some of Nigel's favorite questions so far. I don't have any music playing, so do you want to do some music or something? Like, okay. Yeah, so that's Rose. We got any good questions coming in, Nigel?
No questions, but Billy says, I love that color and style. Diane says, very cute. Let's see, what else?
I like this too. I'm really starting to warm up to some of these shorter styles. I think that's because it's actually starting to get a little warmer outside, and when it gets warm in Georgia, because the humidity and all of the rest of the stuff that comes with Georgia, I really prefer these shorter styles.
Can you briefly explain an extended nape?
Sure, absolutely. So, okay, it's easier to do that with the wig off. So I'm going to take this back off so I can explain what the extended nape is. So the nape here is extended, and it's easy for me to spot that because if it weren't extended, you see all this extra felt back here, right? So just so you know, the nape of the wig hits right where that occipital ridge is in the back of your head. Right here, okay? And that's where it needs to be seated. It's kind of like where your head naturally goes in and your neck begins. Now, I have terrible posture. So I have kind of like a flat neck back here, but you can kind of see that, you know, that occipital ridge is like right around here. So in a wig that does not have an extended nape, that will go straight across here, and there won't be any of this extra material. The extra material helps it lay a little bit flatter up against the back of your neck. So you're most likely to see that in wigs that have, you know, really short hair in the back, kind of like this one does. Or any wig where there's going to be premium finishes. Because in this particular case, this wig has extra felt back here. If you have stubble like I do, that catches kind of like Velcro on that felt, and it makes it stay in place a little bit better. That's why I like shaving my head down. Plus, if I get a hormonal flash or something, it helps so that my, you know, I don't feel like I'm about to melt. So if any of you have that issue, you know, for whatever reason, these wigs that have a little bit of felt, if you just shave your head down, if you are brave enough to take the plunge, it helps a lot with wig grip, just a ton, because you don't have to fuss with the hair underneath your cap. The only thing is you end up washing your wigs more frequently if you don't wear a wig liner, because, you know, the sweat gets right on the wig and it doesn't get on the liner. So there's always a trade-off.
Okay, one other question.
Sure.
Do you think it would stretch comfortably for an almost 23-inch circumference? From
totally. I think that depends, honestly, on your neck situation. Like I said, I have kind of a flat neck back here, and that's going to make wigs slip and slide around, and it will make it harder to figure out where the wig is supposed to sit. And if you sit the wig too far down on your neck, it'll slip and slide and it'll be hard to get it in place and it'll always feel kind of tight, you know? But if you're putting it in the right place, 23 inches should be a breeze. My circumference is 23.5 inches, and I got this one on no problem. It's not pinching in any weird locations. Now, again, I don't have any hair under here, so that helps a lot. But so far, so good. It doesn't really hurt or feel too tight. And in fact, it feels out of mine. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next one because I've got one of each of the new styles here, except for the petite version of Gabrielle, I think is the one that comes in petite because I don't have a petite cap size. So let's see, what's the next one? We got, I think Kaya. I'll have to consult Jon Renau about that when I'm done with this, but I've intentionally been dodging their webinars about this because, like I said, I wanted to keep my opinion of this pretty much damaged. I wanted it to be pure. So I'm going to go ahead and take Rose off so I can show you what Kaya is about. So again, Jon Renau, smart lace wig with a smart lace box. That one was Rose and Chocolate Cherry, by the way, which is FS2V/31V. This is Kaya. I'm just going to go with that pronunciation for now until I'm proven otherwise. And this is in 32F. I like the bold colors, so I chose some of those this time around. Taking the box off. Again, has a little care thingamabobber in it. We've got the smart lace tissue. She's neatly nestled right in here. She does have a hairnet, whereas Rose did not have a hairnet. And sometimes these are packaged a little differently depending on the production run, really. But this is just how I'm finding this. I'm gonna go ahead and gently peel off that hairnet. We'll put that on a little later. I'll show you how to put it on because sometimes it's a little tricky. I like to store my wigs in their boxes, so sometimes knowing how to put the hairnet back on a long wig is helpful. And this tag is attached to a tiny little loop that is here at the nape. So this is going to be tricky to take off, I think, especially with my acrylics. But I love my acrylics. Nigel, you want to give it a go?
Yes.
You got to come over here and do it on camera.
You pronounced it right, says Jon Renau.
Oh, yay! Hi, everybody. Jon Renau. We love your stuff. I've been very excited to see these things.
I thought it was pronounced Kaya because that's the name of one of the characters from the movie Willow.
Oh, I haven't seen Willow in a hot minute.
Oh, it's a good film.
Can you get it?
Getting there. I've just got to give it a bit of a tug, and then.
Oh! You're better at this than I am. Yeah, I can't be without my acrylics, but they're not the most functional things on the planet. All right.
Hold. Yeah.
I dedicate that one to Alex Trebek.
Good old Alex.
Yeah. Between the two of us, we will figure out how to get this tag off.
Problem being, it's a bit.
You got it. I think for the next
batch. It's a tiny bit tangled in the hair.
So again, 32F on Kaya here. And I want to show you the cap before I show you the rest of the hair. And before I even get that far, I want to tell you about this hair fiber. Jon Renau, they pay very close attention to the finishes on basically everything, including the hair fiber itself. So this hair is not as shiny. You know, I mentioned shine when I was talking about Rose, but that's just a rule of thumb to take into consideration with regular synthetics, just full stop. But I think you'll find when I put this on that this could be a shiny, shiny mess, but it's not going to be. I can already feel it, that this is not going to be an issue with this wig. And that's because, you know, the fiber itself has almost like a matte finish to it. It feels kind of dry to the touch. It's not like a Noriko fiber where it feels really slick. So you'll want to be very careful because it's made to sort of mimic what really fine European hair would be like, which means that you have to take care of it carefully. I advise you to never, ever use a brush on a wig like this because this is a synthetic. You know, you might want to get one of these Jon Renau wide tooth combs, use one of these. And I'll show you what this one looks like without combing it, and then I'll comb it too. So that way you get both of that. And let me tell you a little about the cap. This is a completely hand-tied wig, and it's not like one of those Ellen Villa wigs where they're like, it's hand-tied, and then they ninja you with, you know, wefts in the back. There are no wefts in the back here, so they do pay attention to those details. Jon Renau, so thank you guys. It is a little stretchy in certain places. You can really see here this sort of darker mesh that tends to be a little bit stretchier than the mesh that surrounds it. So you want to be really careful not to yank on this lighter colored mesh and the lace on the front and on the top, because if you pull that, it can fray and the hair can actually fall out. So be really careful. The more hand-tied features you have in a wig, the more delicate you have to be when you're handling it. So disclaimer aside, I love hand-tied wigs. This has a really nice felt ear tab. Again, that really nice sturdy bit of metal here on the side. So when you put the wig on, make sure it's flush up against the sides. This one also has a felt nape. And again, I'm feeling those little bits of metal back here in the back. So that's really nice. It helps that stay down, which will help the wig stay in place a little bit better. You just want to be mindful of it when you're applying the hair. And again, got that really lovely hand-tied monofilament top and the lace front. I'm gonna turn her inside out a little bit. You can see what I mean. There's a lot of light coming in through this window. I got a light on up here. She could be super shiny, and she's not really. And that's without washing it once. So be mindful of not pulling the hair or anything like that when you go to put her on. Oh my. Oh, I love a wig with a steamed front. Look at that. Look how that goes like that. Like if this, and you might be like, how do you know this has a steamed front? Because if it didn't, the hair would be like down in my face. And even when I try to do that, it still kind of hangs out above it a little bit. I love that. I'm gonna move this down just a smidge so I can get this whole thing in here for you. Now I've not combed this or anything. There's no product applied to it. I'm just gonna make sure that the lace is in place. Now when you're adjusting the lace, you want to basically move the stuff around it, but you don't want to pull on the lace itself. And I'm gonna make sure that that nape is where it's supposed to be, all right, which is like right where that little ridge is on the back of your head. What a pretty color with this shirt. This is the 32F. It's got really beautiful bold highlighting, particularly up near the front. Beautiful color. Oh, wow. This reminds me a lot of their Alessandra, and I bet that's on purpose. It's really, really luscious.
The basic consensus is gorgeous.
This is a great wig.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and run a comb through her. Nigel, if you want to say anything that I should be addressing.
All right. I've already asked MR's questions. Answered, sorry, on text. Let's see here. No actual questions at the moment. She looks so silky, says Liz Lyon.
Yeah, this is a nice one. Now, I will say that the fiber itself feels dry. It feels kind of like what you get from like a Statica or something like that, as opposed to, you know, a silkier sort of shiny fiber. But she moves really well. I mean, I don't want to get too rough with her because I don't want to mess her up before I give you a 360 view, but these are always so nice when they're right out of the box, aren't they?
Okay. Is this coming to your site?
It's already up. Yeah, I made sure of that this morning before I did that. And that's kind of why this started so late, because I wanted to make sure that those were actually up on the site, ready for pre-sale prior to making this video. Because I don't want to tease everybody, be like, look how cute these are. Ha, you can't have.
Yeah, and you can check the prices and colors available.
Yeah, all that stuff is on the website. And there should be a link in the description. I hope I put that in there. If not, I can put it in there after we're done. I'm going to turn around so you can see what Kaya looks like on all sides. Definitely boob hugging. I'm 5'8" for reference, so she's pretty long. Very, very pretty hair, though. Again, no music, so we're just going to...
Da-da, da-da-da, bum-ba-da, bum-ba-da. Is it
all getting in there? Because I mean, it's really long, but I can't see behind me. Is it?
Let me. Oh, good question. Let's stop feeding tonight. There we go. Yeah, it's all in.
Yay!
It's all in.
All right.
Da-da-da, bum-ba-dum-ba-dum, bum. Okay.
All right. This is what the front of this one looks like. Let me get really close up on here. See all of my makeup. But yeah, very beautiful contoured lace front. So you can see what I mean there. If I pull this back off the head just a little bit, you can see that it kind of starts a little bit shallow and you get a little bit more here. So it doesn't go like straight across. That makes it look a lot more natural, though there aren't any like baby hairs or anything like that cut into this. I, for one, actually really appreciate that because I don't grow baby hair naturally. I don't even want to take this one off. I just want to play with it. I want to put like little cute little braids in it and stuff because it's so nice. I love long hair, especially when I see myself on camera with long hair. I'm like, wow, I look so much younger. It's nice. So yeah, let me go ahead and change the part real quick just to kind of see how easy that is to do. I know I look like Cousin It at the moment, but what was the name of Cousin It's girlfriend? The girl It.
I don't know.
Didn't she have like a?
I thought he mostly dated human females.
Well,
I know Thing had a girlfriend.
He's like he's really into like the Addams Family stuff. I didn't know Cousin It ever had. Like, is he like a species or something? Well, I guess
no one knows what he is. He's just it.
He's just it. Yeah, that was pretty easy, and you can see even when I moved the part, this front stayed up. Now, that doesn't mean that that's always going to be the case. Like if the wind blows or I'm looking down my keyboard, it's going to go down like that. So you may want to get a little bit of synthetic friendly styling spray or, you know, a clip or something and just kind of go like that. That look cute in this color. So I think that's about it for Kaya. She's adorable. I love her. This actually feels really nice on too. Even though hand-tied wigs in general, like this one does not have all that room up at the crown like Rose did. Like it fits way closer up to the back of my head. And she's got a fair amount of hair on her. Like this has way more hair than, you know, a wig that's what I would consider like light hair density, but that's all right. I think it works with all this layering. I mean, she's got beautiful long layers look at that. Just beautiful. She does get gradually thinned out towards the bottoms, but the top still has plenty of hair. And just kind of keep in mind, that's sort of a good thing in a 100% hand-tied piece because they do shed, you know, it's just, it happens. Hand-tied wigs tend to shed a little bit. And so you want that little bit of extra hair so that way you don't end up with like any obvious thin patches. Uh-oh, you're laughing. What's up?
Rachel Jordan, Heather, pause video and go on a date now. That hair is too pretty to keep at home.
I love you, Rachel. We will have to go out after this.
Yes, we will.
We will. He said so, so now I'm going to hold him to it. Alrighty. So let's move on to what's next. I don't know because I kind of put these in random order. Oh, this is Gabrielle, and I did get a blonde, so that way it wouldn't just be like reds on parade. This is 27T 613 F8, otherwise known as Shaded Sun, which is usually my go-to blonde. I love this color. So let's see what this one's all about. Now, I did not grab the lace. I grabbed the hair, just so you know. And even then, you want to be really careful. I didn't want anybody to think I was just going like that because I know on camera that can look one way, and I don't want to be like, oh, don't do this, but I just did it, you know. So yeah, this is Gabrielle. And that last one, by the way, was stretchy, but if you really need the extra accommodation, you want to go with something that's like partially wefted, like Zara or something like that. So this is Gabrielle, again, in Shaded Sun. I'm going to take the box top off. These are all smart lace styles, so they're all going to have basically the same box. And they all have this little care kit in it, has recommended stuff. It recommends the same comb I always recommend. This is a inexpensive investment on keeping your synthetics tame. I like things like that you can use on basically any synthetic wig. Again, you got this lovely Smart Lace branded tissue. And here we have this. I'm gonna take her out of her box. She's got this little cradle thingy she sits in. So I'm gonna remove the hairnet. And Nigel, remind me before I end this, I want to show people how to put the hairnet back on a really long wig.
All right.
Because that's tricky compared to putting them on these short ones again. So there's tissue in here, kind of like a hair burrito. I'm gonna take that out. And again, we've got the tag we need to wrestle with. So I'm gonna, now she did come packaged right side in. So I'm gonna invert her and have you take the tag off, and I might as well just put that hairnet back on.
All right. You do that
Kaya, while you're doing that.
Tag.
Okay, so you get in the shot so they can see all the action. They don't want to miss the action. Yes. So here was the lovely Kaya, and this is what I usually do to my long synthetics before I put them back in the box. I take the comb and I just sort of gently detangle the bottoms out while it's kind of inverted like this. Because that's where you're going to get most of your problems, is right here at the nape. And so it's easy to put the hairnet on if she's detangled. And so I basically just expand this out a little bit. She's got a little bit of a knot at the bottom here. Let's see if I can work around that. And I start at the lace here on the top. And I just kind of hold it there in place. And you just kind of catch it like that, right? And it just sort of naturally folds inward when you do that. I'm just going to gently shake her. You can see she does this thing. Well, that works out really well because if you actually look at the packaging that Kaya came in, she's got a little swoopy-doo thingy in here to catch that natural curl in the hair from when you apply the hairnet. And I can do that a little bit better when I'm not trying to show off what I'm doing on camera, but hopefully that gives you the gist of how you would repackage something like that in case you want to store it in the box. Okay, all done. Woo! So this is Gabrielle, and this is the one that I believe also comes in a petite cap size. And because she's hand-tied, I am not even going to try to put the petite cap version on my head because I will break it. My noggin is too big for that. But this is, I love their hand-tied cap construction at Jon Renau. You can see she's got this beautiful monofilament top, just like the other two did. She's got that beautiful contoured lace front. And when it's off my head, you can really see what I mean, how it sticks out a little bit more in the middle than it does on the sides. That's usually what I mean when I say that. She's also hand-tied on the sides and in the back. And while you'll get a little bit of extra stretch here where this darker mesh is, make sure you don't pull on it too much in any one direction. If you have to force it into place, exchange it for something else. General rule of thumb. You don't want to mess around too much with these hand-tied wigs because you can damage them if you try to force them into place. This does have an extended nape. I'm trying to see if she's got that metal like the other two did. She's got a little bit of something here in the middle, but I don't think it's the same metal because that metal is, you can actually see it on the ear tab. It's kind of, it's not poked through, but it's substantial enough that you can bend it and stuff like that. It's meant to be bent so that way it helps the wig stay in place. I'm going to adjust these Velcro adjusters in the back just a smidge so that way this wig is let all the way out. You want to be really careful when you do that. Couple rules of thumb about Velcro adjusters: set it, forget it. Don't keep continuously adjusting it because the more you pull on that felt, the more frayed the felt gets, and over time it won't be as grippy. So you don't want to mess with it too much once you find the sweet area for where that's supposed to be let out. And you don't want to pull, again, too much on the sides here because there's a little bit of mesh here right where the elastic is housed. And if you pull too much, the Velcro tabby thing will actually get sucked up underneath here. And it's not impossible to get that back out, but it's kind of a pain to mess with if that happens. So it's best to just avoid it. I'm gonna go ahead and shake her just a smidge and put her on. I have no idea what this is gonna look like. Oh my.
Oh my.
Oh, wow. Oh, this is cute. Look, I like all the layering. I like how uneven all the layering is. I could tell that right away. I'm going to get real close up on the camera so you can kind of see. If I play with it this way, you can see that she doesn't have like a boring layering pattern. This is a really nice, almost like deconstructed sort of layering pattern. Very pretty. And here's that lace front. They always do such a nice job with their lace fronts. They start off kind of thin at the front, and then they get gradually thicker as you get back towards the monofilament. I'm gonna comb her and change the part a little bit so I can really show off that monofilament.
While you're doing that, one quick question.
Sure.
Maria Grazia Capitani asks, are the handmade wigs lighter?
Oh yeah, definitely. They are definitely lighter. Now, in my opinion, they fit tighter, and that's kind of the trade-off. They also don't necessarily breathe as well all the time as the open cap wigs tend to, but they are lighter in weight. The hair density generally tends to be a little bit lighter. They lay a little bit closer to the back and sides of your head, so they look a little bit more natural on. So if you're not the kind of person who likes a lot of volume, these hand-tied wigs are really where it's at most of the time. So now that I've adjusted this part, I can show you. You can see this one's actually pretty densely knotted up here, especially when you get back towards this monofilament top. The lace actually starts right around here. There you go. You can actually see the seam if I point it out to you. So there's that. Let me fluff her up just a smidge to bring out the layering. Now this one will probably lay a little bit better after she's been washed. With a wig that's this short and this heavily layered, you want to give her a good wash. And that way, you know, maybe put some like synthetic safe leave-in conditioner on it or something like that. And then kind of just let her air dry in kind of a fluffed up position and then smooth her out when you're done, because that would bring out the layering. Right now she's laying a little bit flat, like she's got a case of box head, and I think that's just because when you first get these short wigs from the factory, they can be a little stiff. Washing it once takes care of that. So you're not going to sing with me this time? Yes. Okay. I was like, some sidekick you are, dang.
Sorry, I was watching.
I need to give you a tambourine or something for next time.
I was watching some of the comments come up.
Women are better multitaskers, gang. So, I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. You can stop looking at me like that. Okay, anyway, so this is Gabrielle. I can imagine that this would also be awesome for petite wig wearers. I mean, though I will say that one thing I hear from people who wear petite cap sizes all the time is that they wish they had more mid-length and longer options. So just something for future reference. But I do think that this one is really easy to wear. She has a slightly longer nape than I was expecting when I first pulled her out of the box. So I feel like this is going to be a little bit more forgiving than something that's like ultra, ultra short. Like sometimes I wrestle with my Ignite, which is another Jon Renau wig. And that's because it's so short in the back that if my hair grows out even a little bit, it feels like it's going to pop off my head like a rocket. But this doesn't feel like it's going to have that issue. Though I will say it's a little bit tight on me. But again, that could also be boiled down to the fact that this is an average size wig and I have an average large cap circumference. C'est la vie, right? So I think I'm going to move on to the last one.
Okay, one quick question though.
Sure. What I think I'll do is you go ahead and give me the question, then I'll hand this off to you to take the tag off. So let me take the unboxing element away so he can wrestle with this tag. So this is, again, another Jon Renau Smart Lace wig. This one is Kendall, and this is an FS2631 S6, which is also known as salted caramel. I really like this color a lot, so I thought it'd be really cute on this one. You take her box top off. Again, you get the same little care pamphlet. You get the same branded tissue. And here she is in all her glory. She's got a hairnet and all that jazz. Gonna gently remove her from her box. This is not a very long wig, so she has fairly basic box construction. I'm gonna take the hairnet off. And now I'm gonna hand this to Nigel and take the tag off while I answer that question.
Okay.
Yes.
The question, oh, where'd it go? Went back a bit. Rachel Jordan. Okay, Gabrielle versus Alicia. Looks more layered in the front than Alicia.
Oh, yeah. Well, Alicia is basically like Ignite with a hand-tied cap, more or less. So if you like Ignite, but you want something that doesn't have quite as much volume and has, you know, kind of a fancier cap construction, he made short work of that. I'm good. It's the practice, I'm sure. But yeah, no, this one is very similar, I would say, but it's not as long in the front, maybe, and it's got a lot of layering, like just a ton. I mean, not to say that Alicia doesn't also have a lot of layering, but Alicia has a shape to her that's very similar to Ignite, where like it's longer in the front and it kind of goes like this, and then the nape is shorter. So this is definitely a little longer back here. But I would say they're both very similar, like very good eye there. Let me take this one off. So this is Kendall. Kendall is open wefted in the back and on the sides. She's also got the felt on the ear tab, as well as, you guessed it, an extended felt nape. They all have fairly similar basic cap features, just some tend to be hand-tied. This one does have little bits of metal on the sides. They're right here on the side, like basically on each side of the red tags in the back. We also have a hand-tied monofilament top and lace front. It is a contoured lace front like the other two with that seam in the middle. There's a little bit of, I would imagine, probably like silicone on the seam here. That aids with grip if you don't have any hair up here. And then the felt features are really great if you do have a little bit of hair, particularly if you have really short hair like I do. As mentioned earlier, they aid with grip in that regard. Give a little bit of friction back here. Because this one's partially wefted, I'm not gonna readjust it. It's already pretty much let all the way out anyhow. So this is what Kendall looks like. I love this color. It's such a pretty color, this salted caramel. This one does have a zigzag part, and of all the ones that I've tried so far, even though these are fresh from the factory, this is literally the only one that came with a zigzag part. So I'm gonna go ahead and gently readjust that. That way I can demonstrate what this looks like. Before I comb her out, I want to show you what she looks like, and then we'll comb her and show you again. But here, let me go ahead and just do that. I can already tell I'm going to really like this one. I have naturally curly bio hair. It's not as pretty as this. It kind of like doesn't grow up here at all, basically. But this is very similar to my natural hair texture. You can see that's that lace front up there. And oh, I want to get that just a little bit straighter because with this rooting, that's going to be really nice and dramatic so people can see. This is a medium brown root. It's number 6. Let's see what's up here. There we go. I mean, it's not the best part I can do on camera, but it's right down the center to kind of prove the point that you can part this. And again, you want to make sure those ear tabs lay flush with that metal flat up against your head, and the stuff on the nape flush up against there. So this is uncombed, unstyled. All I really did was fix the part because the zigzag looks weird. And that's in fact why a lot of these manufacturers are getting away from using the zigzag part, because especially when you have a style that's got all of this very specific styling, you don't want to have to, you know, mess with the styling just to get the part to look more realistic. So I think they're basically changing the way they handle the parts to accommodate that. Let me do a little 360 turn with Kendall on. I'll pause for some questions, and then I'll comb her out and we'll do it again. So music time, Nigel.
Sorry, you caught me off guard. I'm not doing very much. Rewind.
Wait, okay, stop. Okay. Hammer time. All right, so this looks really great, but I think she's gonna look better combed. I'm gonna take her off to do that because I think it's gonna be easier that way. You can see she's got lots of layering here in the front, and you might be like, well, what the heck's the difference between this and Scarlet? Well, a lot, really. This is not, Scarlet has a way curlier curl pattern. Julianne has a way curlier curl pattern. I mean, This is without even looking at Jon Renau's literature, and I could tell the differences right off the bat. For example, the texture is extremely shattered. She's got very intentionally uneven layering all throughout. And I mean, you can really see it here in the front. When I'm done combing it and I put it back on, I'll show you in a little bit more detail again. But lots and lots of layering and intentionally kind of a modern cut here. She's shedding a little bit. That's normal with a brand new wig. Being real gentle with the comb here. Another thing about these cuts that tend to be kind of deconstructed with the curl pattern, they're not uniformly curled. And that's another big difference between this and something like Scarlett, because Scarlett, you know, she's got, you know, cute little curly wave pattern all over, but this one will have straight bits throughout. No two of these are going to look exactly the same. Just anticipate that, because that's part of the styling. It's supposed to look kind of free-spirited, you know, a little bit wild. Whereas if you want something that looks a little bit more polished, Julianne is probably your girl, and will probably continue to be your girl. You might even want Mila if you can't afford the hand tie cap, or you want a little bit of additional stretch back there. Mila is my heart. I love Mila. It's a great wig. So let me put this back on. You can see by combing her just a little bit, she actually fluffed up a little. That is normal. She's got quite a bit of hair here, particularly on the side, so just kind of be aware of that. If you're the kind of person that gets easily overwhelmed, you may have to get it thinned out just a smidge. I like how this sits. I mean, it's sitting it almost completely covers my entire sideburn area. And I like that. I get that more with the wigs that have a little bit of wefting in the back, like this one, or the Rose from earlier, than I do their hand tie caps, just because the hand tie caps tend to be a little bit tighter. I'm going to move this to a side part. Well, heck, you know, we have so many people who say they want right-hand parts. I'm going to part this on the right-hand side. So go ahead and lay your questions on me, honey.
Okay, the bulk of the questions here, starting with Christie's, deal with the permatease.
Aha!
And how does it compare to, say, for example, Scarlett or in general?
Well, Scarlett's going to have a ton of permatease because it's an open cap wig. I mean, and by a ton, I don't mean a ton by wig standards. I just mean a ton by Jon Renau standards, because I mean they tend to, you know, make their bread and butter off of wigs that have a lot of really high-end features, which I feel like is a fairly fair statement there. But on this one, usually where I would suspect the permatease would be is right here at the crown. I'm gonna say there's probably some permatease back there, but let's really investigate and see. Because could be, yes, there's a little bit back here. It's right at the crown. And so it's not a ton, but it will give it a little bit of lift here, right at the crown area. And if I part it back here, you can really see it. But I mean, the hair falls over it so well that I had to really dig for it. What I did to find that, by the way, was I basically just felt with my hand all the way through the back of the cap to about 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch behind where the monofilament top ends. And that's usually where you'll find that feature. Now, sometimes they use like little cut hairs that aren't kinked, but in this case, they feel a little bit kinky. And that is typical of permatease. I'm not afraid of permatease. I like a little bit of volume, but I know that some people are easily overwhelmed by that. But I would counter that the sort of person that is easily overwhelmed by that small amount of permatease would probably be overwhelmed by the volume of the style, period. Because that deconstructed layering, that is all kinds of different lengths like this. You see what I mean when I lift it up and play with it? How it's all kind of different lengths. Here, let me do it near the front because you can really see that there. How it's intentionally kind of uneven. That gives you a lot of volume just right off the bat. It thins the hair out though, so it's cooler, you know, but it does give it more volume. And then the other thing is that it's got a curl to it. Any wig that's got a bit of a curl to it is right off the bat going to have more volume than something that's poker straight. I feel like most of us know that kind of intuitively though, but once in a while it bears some repeating. All right, now that I have parted this on the right, just to kind of demonstrate that it can be done, and fluffed her up a little bit. I'm going to do another 360 so you can see what this one looks like with very minimal styling. I think this one looks a lot better when you comb her out, for example. So what music are we going to go with this time?
I think Orpheus in the Underworld by Offenbach. Yeah.
Hey, all right. So yeah, there we go. That's it for Jon Renau's Spring 2019 collection, everybody. So
One last question.
We'll pause for a couple more questions.
Okay. Are any of these heat friendly?
No, they are all traditional synthetic.
And let's see it. Look, one other question. Do you know? Have you noticed the synthetic wigs will stretch after a few wears?
You're definitely going to get that more with these wefted styles. So something like the Kendall or the Rose would probably give you way more of that. Because, I mean, honestly, these medical wigs are designed to not stretch much, particularly when it comes to these hand-tied wigs. Because if you think about it, if they stretch out too much, because it's got this sort of welded grid Swiss lace here. I mean, if that stretches, the hair is going to fall out of it. So not ideal, right? Particularly if you're spending a pretty penny on it, you kind of want it to stay more or less the right shape for your head. Now with these partially wefted ones, like again, this lovely Rose, the area here in the back is bound together with elastic bands. So that is definitely going to stretch. And the key is that you want it to stretch a little bit to accommodate your head, but you don't want it to keep stretching and stretching and stretching and stretching. That's usually a hallmark of pretty cheap wigs. Like if you ever wear a costume wig from Party City, they just keep stretching and stretching and stretching to the point where, you know, you have to use 20 bobby pins around the perimeter just to keep it all in place. True story, have done that before I was turned on to these medical wigs. So I'm grateful that they stretch a little, but you don't want them to stretch too much. Anything else, Nigel?
That covers it. Lots of compliments otherwise. So thank you to everyone.
Yeah, why don't you come over here and say bye with me?
Okay, come over.
I like this one. I'm going to play with the front on it a little bit.
All right.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. I'm back from the keyboard.
You did a good job.
Thank you, Madera.
Thank you. So, yes, thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope that you've enjoyed this. If you like this sort of thing, make sure you leave it in the comments. Because if you like this sort of stuff, we'll keep doing it because I want to make sure we're making content here that you guys really enjoy. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to research these a little bit more so I can put some more personal touches on the listings on the website in the next few days. But I wanted to make sure I was kind of like, you know, in the dark about them until I put them on my head. And I like this one a lot.
Pretty good one.
Yeah, this one. I mean, I like these mid-length ones, so I'm probably going to keep this sample. But yeah, just so you know. Thank you so much. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us. We tried to time it so that you guys could try to watch it. We did one early in the morning on a weekend once, and that wasn't so great for everybody. So apparently this is much better timing because we've had a better turnout. So thank you so much, everybody. Have a great afternoon.
See you, folks.
Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.